Hello, and welcome to another edition of Chandler, Heated and Unfiltered. I'm your host, Chandler Wyndham. Today, we will be talking about the redistricting and how it affects Texas voters. Let me begin by defining the word gerrymander, as it is going to be used quite a bit in today's episode. To gerrymander is to manipulate the boundaries of an electoral constituency so as to favor one party or class. I bring this up because it happens in most states in one way or another. Texas is one of the worst gerrymandered states. Evidence can be seen in the shapes and sizes of each district. Gerrymandering basically ensures that no matter what, Texas will remain in Republican control. Texas has a large growing population, especially for minorities, that would likely vote Democratic. In the last 10 years or so, Texas has seen an influx of minority populations to suburban areas that used to be predominantly white and Republican strongholds. In the last couple of elections, suburban county races have become closer and closer in favor of the Democratic Party. Texas's new districts aim to limit the power the Democratic Party has in Texas by aiming for the seats Democrats have taken control of since the last time the lines were drawn. For instance, in the 2018 midterm elections, Texas saw a blue wave with a higher voter turnout for Democratic voters or people with discontent with Donald Trump's presidency. Democrat Beto O'Rourke narrowly lost the Senate election to Republican incumbent Ted Cruz. And Democrats gained control of 2 or 3 more United States Congress seats. Many other Democrats in Texas fell just barely short in races that were much tighter than they normally would be. With gerrymandering, the minority vote has been being suppressed. Gerrymandering also leads to a low voter turnout. Voters are less likely to vote if they think it won't matter because the district is designed in a way to make sure the other guy wins the election. You might ask, when do they decide how to redraw the voting districts? Redistricting happens every 10 years at the conclusion of the census, with the most recent census having been in 2020. The biggest questionable district from this redistricting cycle may just be Senate District 10, located in Fort Worth. Senate District 10 splits Hispanic and black voters to give Texas Republicans as much an advantage as they can get. Residents of Tarrant County have filed lawsuits against the state in light of their votes being suppressed by new district lines. There are also lawsuits in Galveston. According to NBCNews.com, in Galveston, it is alleged that the adopted redistricting map moved a voting precinct that had the highest black voting age population in the county out of the majority-minority district where it had been for 20 years, splitting it between 2 other commissioners' court precincts. Texas used to be one of 9 states to need the United States Department of Justice to approve its new district lines under Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. In the 2013 case of Shelby County versus Holder, the Supreme Court ruled that Section 4 no longer applied to any state, including Texas. This new redistricting phase is the first since the Supreme Court made this monumental overturn, making this cycle more important than ever for setting precedent in the next several cycles. So far, however, it appears Texas is slipping back into the hole of racially biased voting districts. But we can't really tell that for certain until after the elections this November. The districts I live in personally have changed drastically. For instance, I used to be in Congressional District 31. Now I'm in District 17. Congressional District 31 was smaller and squarer in shape. The districts I'm in now are really wide and short and have a bunch of areas that just kind of jut out. Congressional District 17 includes parts of North Austin and stretches all the way to the western suburban counties of Houston, which is more than a 3-hour drive. I only need to travel just a few miles north, south, or west, and I'd be in a completely new district, though. In 2020, just before the redistricting, my district, Donald Trump, would have won by 2.9%. Under my new district lines, Trump would have won by 22.6%. That is quite a big, significant difference. Make sure to research your new district so you know who's running to represent you. The best thing to combat gerrymandering is to contact your representative in the United States House of Representatives. It could pressure them into writing legislation to prevent gerrymandering and make elections fairer in the future. Today's show was written and recorded in Hutto High School. Our show was written by Chandler Wyndham. Our producer is Chandler Wyndham. Chandler Heated and Unfiltered is brought to you by sponsors like Hutto Iced Tea, Tony C's Pizza and Beer Garden, home of Austin's original coal-fired pizza, NPR, Spotify, Texas Tech University, ACC, a lack of personal free time, procrastination, and the listeners like you. Thank you. This is NPR.